like to start with what appears to be a looming government shutdown here, Senator. I saw you on Twitter a little while ago talking about this. I know you voted nay on the Republican-written continuing resolution. Talked to Tom Emmer a little while ago, and they're already paving the road here to blame Democrats for the shutdown. Is this really going to happen?
Listen, I believe it's the Republicans control the presidency, the Senate, and the House. I think, frankly, Leader Schumer and President Trump ought to sit down, Jeffries, whomever, but we said let's not put further health care cuts that everyone rates will go up, not just folks who buy through the Obamacare marketplace, but I can tell you in my state, you had 700,000 more people going to the emergency room. Everybody's health care rates are going to go up. We said, let's not do further damage coming on top of the big, awful bill. So I think many of my Republican friends say quietly to me, hey, Mark, we get the fact that we are overextended ourselves. So I hope that we can still cut down and do a deal, although clearly the House has decided to punt on their responsibility. I don't think they're coming back until the beginning of October.
Well, you know, the argument that I've been hearing from Republican lawmakers is that we have a funding mechanism to deal with now, a funding deadline on the 1st of October, and Democrats want to deal with a policy debate that we should be having in November and December. Do you think that that debate will actually take place?
Why? The debate ought to be taking place now. Remember, this is the same Republicans who have, over the last 4 or 5 months, allowed the OMB director, frankly, I think illegally, to pick and choose which government programs to fund, regardless of what is already in the law in terms of the appropriations bill. So the idea of going ahead and saying, let's not do further damage to healthcare. And when one thing Donald Trump has done is definitely made Americans sicker in terms of taking away healthcare, cutting healthcare research. You know, I'm not sure why that debate is going to be riper in November than it is right now. And I think the American people understand that, want relief, but you got to start with two sides sitting down at a table. I've been in business a long time and politics a long time. The only way to get to yes is put the decision makers in the room and try to work it out. Donald Trump claims he's a great deal maker. Let's make a deal.
Well, you've been through this a few times, Senator. Do you think we're actually going to shut down?
I think this is more than the normal, countdown. I think there are stark policy differences. And I really, again, think about many of my Republican colleagues who've been aghast that the OMB has arbitrarily been picking and choosing programs. It's got to come to a head. And I think the debate about restoring healthcare or not taking more healthcare away, it doesn't get better. And particularly, I think about in my state, everybody's going to get the notices starting October 1st of how much their rates are going to go up. And if you give you an example, if you're a $80,000 couple in Virginia Beach, in your 60s, and you're buying in the Obamacare marketplace, your rates are going to go up $800 a month, and you're going to get that reality in October. And why go through that kind of chaos when we can solve it right now?
I want to tap your experience as a former high-tech executive, Senator, because we have an important scoop today at Bloomberg reporting that President Trump is signing an H-1B visa overhaul executive order that would require a $100,000 fee for the visa authorization. Do you see companies paying this? Will this help the job market?
I guess there's nothing that President Trump's going to do that's going to surprise me. There have been certain like E4 and E5 programs, kind of a bit more obscure, where there's kind of a pay to come in. H-1Bs, I think many companies will pay, but how does that young entrepreneur, how does that person, particularly as we exclude some of our graduate students from other nations, I'm going to take a full look at what the president's proposing, but we still need to attract world-class talent in America. And unfortunately, because of the anti-immigrant flavor of a lot of the president's policies, we are not getting the same caliber of folks coming to our graduate programs, universities, and frankly, even in trying to come and work in America. And that's long-term going to hurt our economy.
Well, there's been a lot of news coming out of the White House today, and the Wall Street Journal is now reporting that the president was serious when he talked about moving back into Bagram Air Force Base, that Trump administration officials are in fact going to enter talks with the Taliban to this extent. Is this a wise move, Senator? Are you talking about it on the Intel Committee? And if we do this, do we have to shoot our way back in?
Well, that's, Joe, I don't know. I mean, I saw those reports. We have obviously not been briefed, which if that is a serious policy proposal, we need to be. But remember, Donald Trump was going to, I thought he was going to end the wars around the world. We've not ended the war in Ukraine and Russia. If anything, now Russia's drones into Poland, into Romania. I think there was a violation of Estonian airspace just the other day. The conflict in Gaza, if anything, has gotten worse. Israel is now bombing our allies. The idea that Donald Trump would be part of an effort to put American forces back in Afghanistan. Tell me what's smart about that.
What's going to happen with, now you point out what happened in Estonia, a second Article 4 being triggered by a NATO ally, Senator. What's it going to lead to? It's Poland and now Estonia as Vladimir Putin keeps pushing the line. Listen,
Vladimir Putin, I think, has played President Trump, assuming that you could simply appeal to Trump's ego, and has deteriorated the Ukrainians' position, who are doing still an incredible job pushing back and, frankly, are rewriting the rules of engagement in warfare in terms of drone usage. But remember, Trump was going to solve this. If anything, now we've got Putin pushing against NATO nations, and the very question of whether America will honor our NATO commitment, I think is going to be soon tested. And as we saw, Bibi Netanyahu put a thumb in Trump's eye on bombing another American ally, Qatar, and now will Trump actually stand by NATO, which is, for all its flaws, helped keep the peace for 75 years post-World War II? The fact that that is even an open question ought to scare the hell out of all of us.
Well, you had a pretty scary floor speech, and I want to ask you this before you leave us yesterday about the intelligence community and the changes that this administration has made, namely Tulsi Gabbard accusing her of diminishing the American intelligence community. As ranking member of the Senate Intel Committee, you're looking at firings and a number of changes that have taken place. And I know you're questioning what this will lead to. What is Tulsi Gabbard trying to do with this purge?
She's not saying, she committed to us when she was confirmed. I voted against her, but she said, don't worry, we're not going to politicize the intelligence community. It was policymakers selectively choosing intelligence that led to the war in Iraq. She even cited that. And yet we have exactly that behavior, where intelligence officials that won't bend their assessments, originally the National Intelligence Council members fired and removed, who wouldn't bend their assessment about Venezuela, folks at the National Security Agency run out, uniformed military officers, four-star General Tim Hawk being driven out by this extremist Laura Loomer, who Gabbard seems to respond to. Same thing happening at DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency. Again, another general removed from his post because he wouldn't cook the books on the assessment around Iran. And it is time and again, our senior Russia covert official and analysts removed from their positions, and a number of a vendetta against people that, if they don't adhere to the president's ideology or idea of the day, are being forced out. The whole value of the intelligence community is to tell the truth and speak truth to power. And my speech yesterday was, if we undermine that, then America is going to be less safe. The intelligence community, when it doesn't tell the truth, gets us in trouble. And now I feel like intelligence professionals, we've lost literally decades of experience. And I'm not sure, what young person is going to want to go join the CIA if they feel like their assessments have to meet the political convenience of the day. That does not help America. And I just wish more of our, this should not be a partisan issue. These folks work for Democrats and Republicans alike, but it is unprecedented in my time in looking at the IC.
Well, I believe that Tulsi Gabbard just quickly promised you that this would not happen during confirmation. Will she come back to your committee to testify?
She absolutely made that promise. It was a very close, she got confirmed by only 1 or 2 votes. It was a partisan vote. I've been extraordinarily disappointed. And again, the thing that I've been begging my Republican friends, they all say, Mark, you're right. We can't believe this is happening. We can't believe this this Laura Loomer lady who is a 9/11 denier has so much sway. But so far, they have been unwilling to speak out in any organized way. And every week that goes on, we lose intelligence professionals. And if we, again, I say this from a historical perspective as well, if we start forcing our intelligence analysts to bend to political realities, not tell the truth, that leads to very dangerous situations for our country. And every American should be concerned about that.
It's good to have you back, Senator. Appreciate the time. Mark Warner, the Democrat from Virginia, on Bloomberg TV and radio. Come see us again soon.